Hello there, this is Russ Bucher from ControlMyNikon, and in this video we're going to take a look how you can capture the images you need to make a time-lapse video. So first thing we need is a subject. So this ice cube is just sitting on a tray and we're going to watch it melt over time. So I'll turn my histogram off here, and I never noticed it before. I didn't know they bubbled inside as they melt. Now to create a time-lapse, you go to the workflow menu and to time-lapse, and you have several options here. You can start a time-lapse at a particular date and time, and you could stop it at a date and time. So you could just start this up and leave it and it'll run. The time-lapse, however, will be done outside of live view because live view burns a lot of power and you don't want to drain your batteries too fast. So if you're in live view, when you start the time-lapse, it will close live view for you. We're going to start ours when we press the capture button. So we keep this dot here. And we'll stop it after a certain amount of shots. Now I'm thinking I should take a shot of this melting ice cube about every minute. So I'll go 60 seconds. And I'd like as many shots as possible. And I'm not too sure how long it'll take for this to melt, though. This is under studio fluorescent lighting. So, but I'm going to set it to, let's say 60 shots. This thing is probably going to be melted within an hour. I'll set it for subfolders so it saves the captured image in a separate folder. Now, if you wanted to, you can chain it to an HDR workflow. And we also have a tutorial on doing HDR. But basically how it works is you go into the HDR workflow, configure your bracket by selecting different shutter speeds, enabling it, and then coming back here. And when you start, and if you have chain HDR, every time it goes to capture an image, it will capture the entire bracket that you defined in the HDR workflow. So let's give this a try. We're just going to let this run for quite some time. Okay, you can see here it's about half done. We're on image 31, and we definitely have some melting happening here, and I'm just using my mouse wheel here to cycle through the different images. You can use your arrow keys on the keyboard as well. Definitely melting at a pretty good rate. But we'll stop it right here as we can see that it's melting at a pretty good rate, and we have a good amount of images to illustrate how this all works. Okay, so to stop it at any time, you can click on cancel. And that's useful because you may want to later on increase the number of images. You could be coming near the end of your shoot and realize as well you need to go for another hour, so you can hit cancel and then add more shots. Okay, let's review the images that we captured. Now you can do that either here on the image browser. I'll hit F to look at it full screen. Then you can use your arrow keys. We're just reversing time here. I'll press F again, bring it back to normal size. But you'll also have a mini image browser over here, and each workflow has their own. And this allows you to do things like in the image browser, look at another image or maybe some other time lapses you've done and compare them with what you've just captured. And you can resize this. And you can also change the information that's displayed here. You just go to configure, and maybe you want the thumbnail, file name, maybe histogram, and how about the exposure information. So you can put whatever information you like there to help with your workflow. Now you can also view this image full screen. That's a W key on the keyboard. You can change which key to use for that in the keyboard shortcut. So I'll press W now. Brings it up full screen. And you can use the arrow keys again to cycle through the different images that you've captured in this workflow. You press W again to bring it out of full screen. So you have really two full screens. You have F for the main browser full screen, W for the workflow full screen. So let's see what else we can do here. If you right click, you can flag an image if you like. It just puts a red bar up there. And this is really just used to flag it. Maybe you want to flag this as a keeper or one that needs to be deleted. You can also keep the browser in sync, so when you click on one here, it also puts it on the browser. This allows you to put the browser on another monitor if you like, and then you could turn this back into live view, and then you're able to see two different browsers and live view. And if you keep it synchronized here, that means that this will be updated and will display the most recently captured image during the time-lapse capture session. You can convert one to high quality if you like, and this is only converting the thumbnail and the histogram. You can also change the folder that's being displayed here. You can refresh it. This reloads information from the database. You can delete an image and also use the delete key on the keyboard. If you take the check mark off of subfolders, all of the images will be dumped into a time-lapse subfolder using the main counter. If you have a check mark here, you ensure that all the images in your time-lapse session will appear in the same folder, and here you can see that it has time-lapse underscore year, month, date, underscore hour, minutes, seconds. And you can widen this to be able to see more thumbnails. So you can definitely see the progression of your image captures. And by dragging this back and forth, you kind of simulate what your final video is going to look like. That's it. That's how you capture the images needed for a time-lapse in ControlMyNikon. Happy tethering.